Hi, I'm Amy Allison Taylor. I'm an intuitive healer in Olympia, Washington, United States. And I'm going to be going through my energetic signature list for COVID-19 and offering a healing from that document tonight. If you want to know what the document that I'm talking about, it is on my blog site, Woo Corner, and also on my own website, amyallisontaylor.com. Under the resources page, you can find this energetic signature of COVID-19. What do I mean by an energetic signature? I mean that pathogens, as they move through the body, they're able to block the body's ability to use different substances, like resveratrol is something that the body can use. It's in red grapes, it's in peanuts, and it's a phenol, which is a type of chemical in plants that is used. They use it to defend themselves, and your body can use it to block viral replication in the body. And so if your body is blocked to resveratrol, if you're not able to use resveratrol, it's like a virus. It's clear to me as an intuitive that a virus has gone through and signed their name, and basically it shows that the virus has caused your body to be out of right relationship with resveratrol, where you're literally having like a histamine reaction, like an allergic reaction to it, and your body's not able to use it to fight the virus. And so there are all kinds of things. That's resveratrol is just one, but there's many things that viruses like COVID will block in the body. And depending on the mix of things that I see when I'm working with somebody, I know, oh, this one's herpes, or this person has candida, because it's a very clear signature. So I've been tracking the COVID-19 signature, and I have a huge list of things that it blocks and messes with in the body. And I'm going to try to go through the entire list. I've done one video already. This has been several weeks since I made the first video, and I've got a lot more information. So I'm going to go through this tonight. I'm sending healing out to several friends that have the virus, people in my household, and just so you know, I have the virus, and I'm on the tail end of it, I hope. I've knocked it back several times and thought it was gone, and then it came back around again, which is typical of viruses. That's not an uncommon thing. So think about like herpes or Epstein-Barr, that is able to live in the body for years, and then break out at different times when you're under stress. So we hope COVID is not that kind of virus, but in the weeks or so since I've been working with it, it's starting to look like it could be. So if you've got it, be vigilant and know that it hunkers down. Viruses like to hide behind. They'll use heavy metals to create like a little wall, like a little fort, and they'll hide behind that. And then, like I say, wait until you're stressed, and then they come out. And by then they've built up, they've created forces behind that wall, and they can really attack you. So some people are finding that they think they're over COVID, they're doing great. Maybe they go to exercise, and then suddenly they're like really going down. And that second wave, when COVID comes at you the second time after you think it's over, can be pretty harsh. So, and I've experienced that, where I thought I was over it and then was like, whoa, what is this? And I was down, right? And using my own energy work like crazy to get myself back on track. So anyway, so the stuff that I'm about to do is stuff that I've experienced and that I've observed in my clients and friends and family. My household has it, and we are successfully fighting it off and having relatively mild symptoms. Right, we've had some moments when it got bad, and then we're able to back it off within an hour or so. So be of good cheer if you have it. This stuff works, and so let's just get right to it. I'm going to start us off with just a simple tree flow meditation to try to get centered. There's a longer version of the tree flow meditation on the first COVID video that I did. Tonight I'm just going to do a very short one, because the many people that are going to use this video are people that they're really familiar. My clients are really familiar with doing the tree flow meditation, and so I'm just going to do a short version so that we just get right to it. If you need a longer one, if you feel like you're not really settled after we've done this short version, then please go to the other video and do the longer tree flow meditation at the beginning of that one. So let's just get started. So to do the tree flow, go ahead and place one hand over the other in the center of your heart chakra, in the center of your chest. And you want to get grounded. So first of all, just see if you can imagine yourself as being, a beautiful tree in the middle of a peaceful meadow. And so you are the spirit of the tree. So you can either stand inside the trunk or you can literally walk out of the trunk and walk around the meadow. So take a moment to do that, to just be tree. And as you do that, use your imagination and all of your senses to place yourself there in this peaceful, beautiful meadow. And you are this glorious tree. And I like to use a willow because the way the branches come down low around you, it kind of mimics what your auric field should feel like. But you can choose any tree where the branches come down low around it. So see if you can imagine that you're either in the trunk or you're leaning against the tree and you're just looking out and you feel like you're in this room of green shifting light, right, on a beautiful sunny day. Okay. And you may need to sigh as you come into a calmer state. So let yourself do that. And then just look down at the ground and imagine these deep roots going deep into the ground. And think about how they're connecting, how deep and wide those roots go. And then imagine you're following beyond the physical roots, the energetic roots that connect right through the bedrock and right into the warm, molten heart of the earth. And think about pulling energy up, lava light, orangey energy, pull it up through your roots and bring it all the way up through your feet and right up to your heart. And then as you release your breath, imagine that light goes to every cell with the out breath. Right. And let's do that again. Let's think down to the earth, right? Connecting down. And then you're going to take a deep breath in. Pulling that lava light to your heart, release, sending to every cell with the out breath. And if you're not familiar with this, what we just did is called grounding. You're just grounding yourself, and you probably feel a little calmer just from that. So now take your attention up and imagine that you're looking up at the branches above you and the light coming down. And just think about for a moment how far away that light has come and how warm it must feel on the tree's top, as though that is your hair, your head, right? Feel that warmth of a summer day. And then in your mind, follow the light out well beyond the clouds, well beyond the atmosphere of the earth, beyond our solar system even, until you're looking at the universe itself and all the stars and thinking about all the light coming towards you where you are in that tree. And take a breath in, breathe in that light, and then dive with your consciousness down to where you're sitting beneath the tree, and then release the breath and send light to every cell with the out breath. And now you're connected above, you're rooted below. Right? You're hopefully feeling calmer. Take a moment to look around the meadow and just hear the bird song. And notice where the sun is in the sky. And feel the breeze on your face, on your leaves. Right? If there's some animal critters around you that you want to come and sit with you, if you're somebody that works with spirit guides and helpers, invite them to come and sit with you underneath the tree, and you're going to sit down, find a comfortable place to sit underneath the tree. And you can create a lawn chair if you want to, or just a mossy spot, your choice. So sit down beneath the tree. Got your critters around you. Okay, again, think about rooting. Take a deep breath up from below and release. Think about lifting. Breathe starlight down from above and release. And now just sit in your meadow, using all of your senses to be there again. And take a moment to think about 3 things that make you happy to be alive. Very specific things. So like going for a walk on the beach with my dog. Getting a hug from a beloved, right? 3 specific things. Chocolate. Got your things? Okay, place them in your hands, hold them to your heart. Got the feeling of them that you're holding to your heart, and imagine sending the feeling of that through the heart to the core of your being. And let those good feelings fill you up from the top of your head to the soles of your feet, from the top of the tree to the tips of your roots. Right? You're just filled up. Release any resistance, or set your intention to release any resistance to receiving healing, any resistance to relaxing and connecting below and above. Know that viruses like to keep you upset, and they are able to create emotion in your body by messing with your hormones. So, be aware of that, and don't let them, right? If you're having a bad mood and you're thinking, where is this coming from? Why am I feeling this way? Think it's probably COVID, right? And fight it for all you're worth. And let's start fighting now by telling your body to pay attention to the different things going on. And I'll just say that the energetic signatures list is kind of, we're going to work with the early symptoms first, which kind of mimic having like seasonal allergies. And then we'll move into the more serious symptoms. And then at the end, we'll work on specific areas that I've noticed that the COVID can move into that are kind of unusual, but that I've seen it with a number of clients and myself now, that it'll run from the immune system and hide in different organs in different places. So that's the way it's organized. So if you want to, you can, move ahead earlier, to get into the heavier symptoms or the weirder ones at the end. And right now we're just going to work on the early symptoms, which is ears, eyes, eyelids, nose, sinus, and throat. So that where, it starts to, it first invades the body from that point, right? And as we do this, I want you to focus specifically on those specific areas, and tell the body to clear or come into right relationship is the right term. We're telling the body to check what it's doing and to come into right relationship with the different things that it's blocking. And the first thing we're going to start with is deception fields. So we're going to focusing on the ears, eyes, nose, sinuses, and throat, and thinking your happy thoughts, right? So it's you're kind of gonna have to play with this. So when I'm asking you to think the happy thoughts and send through to the core, that's the essence of energy healing, is creating, strong, active thoughts that elicit strong, happy emotions and create a magnetic field that is, palpably different than when you're in a depressed state, right? And it's that field, that movement that you need to do the energy healing. So I'm going to have you keep your hands here at your heart. I'm going to turn my hands towards you, and I'm going to be sending towards you. So if you're sensitive, you probably just felt that as I turned my hands towards you, right? And I'm going to make a bridge to my different friends that I'm helping tonight as well, and then to you, to anybody that would like to receive this healing at this time through the video. Okay, so you keep your hands here, and every now and then check in with your happy thoughts. Make sure you're vibrating well and sending well to yourself. And I'm going to send to you. And that's all we really need, that and focus and direction to elicit a healing, a shift in the body. So right now let's focus, we're focusing on the entire body in general, but specifically on the ears, eyes, eyelids, nose, sinus, and throat, as we tell the body to release any deception fields and to become aware of any deceptive behavior by virus in the body, right? And as we do these, as I give you these directions, you may feel the need to sigh. I did right there. I just wanted to go after I said that because I felt a deception field kind of lift off of me. And that's typical when you do a shift. If you've ever had a massage and somebody's been working on you, and then as something releases, you need to sigh. That's your vagus nerve activating. So just let that happen as we go through this list. Sometimes I'll direct you to do it, but more often I just want it, as it happens, just elicit that response. Okay, I'm noticing that my computer needs a plug-in here. So I'm going to do that. And by the way, if I screw up, I'm just going to keep going. So this is not a very professional video. It's just what it is. And like I said, I'm doing this for some friends tonight and offering it to you too. So we'll just scrub through, do our best. So focusing back on yourself, being beneath your tree, using all of your senses to be there, thinking about rooting, thinking about lifting, thinking your happy thoughts, holding them to your heart, sending through to the core of your being, and telling yourself to release deception fields, and specifically deception fields created by COVID-19, telling the body to come into right relationship with COVID-19 in all its different forms. COVID-19 as an active virus, as a viral spore, as a viral toxin, and as viral die-off, meaning the bodies of it as it dies off, right? What it's made out of. So telling your body to come into right relationship with all of those things, meaning that the body goes, hey, there's a virus there, let's kill that. And somebody take a picture and make sure everybody knows what it looks like, right? That's what we're doing right now, coming into right relationship with COVID-19, which is, this is enemy number one, kill it now. Okay, big breath and release. And breathe light down from above and release. Great. Okay. And again, we're focusing on the body in general, but specifically the ears, eyes, eyelids, nose, sinus, and throat, as we tell the body to check out your ability to balance your salt levels and making sure that your right relationship with salt and with chloride and with sodium separately. So coming into right relationship with salt and your ability to balance your salt levels. And I'm just going to invite you to sigh as needed. Another way to do this is to use the sway test or to do some muscle testing. So so we'll do that with the next one, and I'll kind of show you. So the next one is your ability to balance your pH, your body pH, and your relationship towards acid, base, by which I mean alkaline substances, and then acid and base in combination, triggering a contraction response. So that's a very specific one. But so let's just hold that all together under the title of ability to balance your pH. And I can notice, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm literally leaning back as I do that. And I'm thinking about my friends, right? And so my body is telling me that they are blocked towards their ability to balance their salt levels right now. And I can test whether I am too. No, I'm strong towards it, so I'm feeling them right now as an empath. And so I'm going to send energy to them and to you to come into right relationship with their salt levels there. And now I'm moving forward. And so you can do that for yourself too, right? You can do it with the sway. You'll feel yourself leaning back as I talk about something, and you just keep sending energy to yourself until you move forward. Or you can do it this way. You can do the rings, and say if you're weak at first towards your ability to balance salt levels, then you go back to doing healing, and then you test again, and it's like, oh, I'm strong and I'm moving forward. Great. Okay, we're ready to go to the next thing. So let's go on we're on balancing pH, right? So let's just finish that up. We're just coming into right relationship to your ability to balance the pH, right? There's the sigh. All right, and let's move on to the next thing. So now we're working on your ability to make and use steroids. Very important. Steroids are what help your body to heal where where the lungs are getting mushy or the throat is getting sore, right? So you want to be in your right relationship with your ability to make and use steroids. Again, we wait till we're moving forward, or muscle testing, strong towards that. Okay. And you may feel, if it comes up, like I just felt a pain in the left lung. And if I ask about one of my friends, there's a fort of pathogens in the left lung, and my body just empathically told me that. So you might notice if there's certain pains in certain areas of your body, then you want to focus especially intently on that area. So so do that now. Like if you have a pain anywhere in the ears, eyes, eyelids, nose, sinus, and throat, then specifically tell it to come into right relationship with your ability to balance your pH, okay, and your ability to make and use steroids in that area. Yeah, there you go. And now my friend is testing strong towards steroids, and even in that one area. Okay, and now let's go on to viral fighting substances. And again, we're focusing on the body in general, but specifically on the ears, eyes, nose, sinuses, eyelids. What else was in that? Throat, nose. And we're looking at viral fighting substances. So this is where the allergy symptoms are coming from, because a lot of these viral fighting substances are in pollens. So the first one is chlorophyll, right? So we're coming into right relationship with chlorophyll, especially in pollens. Waiting until you're moving forward. Nice. Okay. And then the next one is cinnamic acid, coming into right relationship with cinnamic acid. Okay. Coming into right relationship with fungal spores. Right. They have a lot of pathogen fighting things in them, and we tend to get allergic to them because pathogens don't like us to use those things. Phenylalanine is another viral fighting substance. Here we go. Remember to sigh if you feel the need to sigh as we go through these things. And then phenols, especially phenols in pollens. And here's a list of phenols: coumarin, flavonoids, quercetin is a big one for COVID-19, coming into right relationship with quercetin, right? And then resveratrol also. All right. Here's another viral fighting substance that is new to me, but was giving me hell the other day. I was having a real reaction to something called sporopollenin. Sporopollenin. Come into right relationship with sporopollenin. Nice. Okay. All right. So there's our viral fighting substances. And if you want to, you can test yourself towards viral fighting substances. And you should test strong. If not, then stop the tape and continue working until you test strong for viral fighting substances. Next is tears, mucus, and saliva. So in your tears, mucus, and saliva, there's all kinds of, antibodies and immune cells and pH chemicals that have a certain pH that need to be a certain way. And so what I advise you to do when you're working with tears, mucus, and saliva is to actually get a Kleenex. I'm going to have you dab the corners of your streaming eyes from this, from the pollen issues, right? And blow your nose. And then don't be shy about sticking your finger up there and you're really getting the good stuff out, because this is what you want. You want a sampler. And then find a dry spot and spit and wipe your mouth. Blah. So now you've got these three fluids. You've got tears, mucus, and saliva right here. And you can just hold it in your hands and literally hold it to your heart. And if you're out of right relationship with this stuff, you'll move back or you'll stay still, right? And so you want to be able to move forward. So you hold it there and tell yourself to come into right relationship with everything there. And right relationship with pathogens means that the body recognizes that they're an enemy and it takes appropriate action. Right relationship to your friends, like the pollens, actually are your friends. They contain, like I said, these viral fighting substances. And you want to be in right relationship with all of those so that you can eat them and use them, right? And then to yourself, you want to be in right relationship with yourself, with your own enzymes, histamine, hormones, and urea, which is something that is that helps the tissues stay slick and hydrated. So coming into right relationship with enzymes, histamine, hormones, and urea, specifically in your tears, mucus, saliva, and then so much else. That's just a short list of everything that you've got right here in your Kleenex, right? Okay, so I recommend that you do this Kleenex clearing every time you blow your nose, every time you go to the bathroom, right? Do that, and that'll really help you fight this virus if you do that every time, right? It's a great sampler to use to tell your body what you want it to do. Okay, now let's go a little further. Let's work on the histamine response to irritants that's happening in the eyes. So we want to want the body to look at that, because the histamine response is out of this world with this one, right? Responding, sending histamine regarding pollens, particles, spores, pollution in the air. I got reactive to air, wind, and sun on my eyes. They were bright red. It was just awful. So tell your body to like, hey, no, we do not have a histamine response to these things. These are normal things that happen. And if you're going to do histamine response, let it be around the pathogens, but not around these things, the irritants, pollens, particles, spores, pollution in the air, wind, and sun, right? Sometimes you can get literally allergic to like dry air or, cold, damp air. It's weird how the pathogens are able to, it's like the pathogens say, it's not me, it's him, right? And the body goes, that's what we should react to. And it's this misassociation with what the immune system should be doing. So, okay, so right relationship with the histamine response to the appropriate things, right? Now let's bring yourself into right relationship with an Ig response, an immunoglobulin response to pollens or substances in pollens like phenylpropanoids and polyphenols, these wonderful chemicals that are in plants that you can use. So you want to point out to your body that if it's having an Ig response to pollens or the substances in pollens, that it's made friends, enemies, and it's letting the enemies go. It's wasting its immunoglobulin response on something that is friends, and it's not actually attacking the virus. So ask your body to take a look at that, to refile. COVID is the enemy. Phytochemicals are not. Phytochemicals are our friends. Make sure it knows that. Okay, big breath. Release. Okay, good. All right. And then lastly, for this section, we want to look at COVID-19, the nerves of the eyes, and an inflammation response. So COVID's causing there to be an inflammation response around the nerves of the eyes, and then actually changing the way the nerves, the way they're shaped so that it can dive down through the nerves and re-enter the body. So just know that. So if you're having some pink eye symptoms or this kind of thing, it's an inflammation that the COVID is causing. So right now we're clearing for COVID-19, the nerves of the eyes, and then a way over the top inflammation response, telling the body to look at that and know who's creating the inflammation response and to back it off, right? And to go after the COVID, not the nerves of the eyes, right, themselves. Big breath in. Great. All right. And if I keep bouncing towards you, that's what I'm sensing, whether my friends are accepting this healing. Right. Okay. So I hope this is making sense to you. If not, just do it anyway and feel better. It will work. And you can figure out how it works later. And I would love it if you'd figure out how it works. I hope the next generation will spend a lot of time doing scientific experiments to understand why this phenomena works. My lifetime, it seems to be just about discovering the phenomena itself and playing with it. But let's go on ahead. So another symptom of COVID is is neck pain, and so if I'm saying this and you're going, I've had neck pain for weeks, I thought I was sleeping on it wrong. It's like, no, it's a big symptom with COVID. So if you've got huge allergies this year and neck pain, I'm telling you, you might have COVID. It's one of the symptoms. It was the first symptoms that I got were, sinus headache and neck pain, and before I had anything else. So let's heal for that, okay? It feels so good to do this one when your neck's been hurting for a while. So again, we're going to clear for deception fields. So take a moment to go back to your being under your tree. You're rooted. You're lifted. I know I just said some scary things. If you're new, if you didn't realize you had COVID and you just went, maybe I do. Like, okay, root yourself. Remember, there's always help. There's always guidance. There's always love for you. You're not alone in this, right? So remember to root yourself to Mother Earth, to connect yourself to Father Sky. Think of your happy thoughts. Think of chocolate. Think of swimming on a hot day. Think of listening to your favorite song, right? Hold those to your heart. Send through to the core of your being. All right. Tell yourself to release deception fields around your neck and joints. So it's not just the neck, it's also joints can become very sore. Often it seems like virus will go after areas where there's scar tissue for some reason, or where you already have an old injury. So pay attention to that as well. So our focus in this section is neck and joints. And we're asking the body to clear for any deception fields. And then to pay attention to whether there's any viral spores, virus or viral toxin, and so those areas, specifically in the neck, in the cerebral spinal or disc fluid in the neck, in the back, right? Making sure the body's in right relationship, knows that COVID is the enemy and is kicking it out of the spine and the spinal fluid and the discs, right? And also that the body's in right relationship with the viral toxins in those areas. And instead of freaking out and going into big inflammation, the body, which is a detoxifying, master, should just go, hey, there's some toxins there. Let's clear those, right? And just do it that way. So talk to your body that way, like, you got this. You got it. You can do these toxins. Just let me know what I need to eat to help you out. More water, we can do that. Lemon, you got it. Right? So it's we're having a conversation with your body. Hey, body, COVID-19's the enemy. Check the neck. Check the joints. Okay, you got this. You got this. All right, good. So we're in right relationship with COVID-19, COVID spores, COVID die-off, COVID toxins in the joints, and especially in the cerebral spinal fluid and disc fluid. Okay. Now let's move on to something that's really important with joints is your ability to do something called phagocytosis. And this is the process by which the immune system literally oxidizes the pathogens. And pathogens are always trying to block that. And then what happens is the oxygen goes, it oxidizes your own cells, and specifically the joints get really, really sore when this is going awry. So focus, if you've got any specific sore spots, focus on those spots as you send energy to yourself. You might want to take one or both of your hands and hold over, whatever area is specifically sore, right? Or you can just simply focus your mind on it, keep your hands on the heart, your choice. But we're just paying attention to those sore spots and saying, hey, body, check on what's going on with your ability to do phagocytosis, the oxygen burst, to COVID-19 in those areas. Make sure that the body is attacking COVID-19 with those oxygen molecules, those reactive oxygen molecules, rather than itself, right? Okay. You may need to sigh as this shifts. There you go. Mm-hmm. This is a big one. If you're somebody that suffers from arthritis, use this. This works for arthritis. I used to have or was heading towards having really bad arthritis, and I was able to turn it around by understanding this process. So you want to work with phagocytosis. You also want to be in right relationship with oxides. So all forms of oxides, coming into right relationship with oxides, specifically in those sore points in the necks and joints. Okay, coming into right relationship with oxides. All right. And now we've got to get really specific. And I wish it didn't have to be this specific, but when I was working on my own neck, I created this list and it had to be this specific, or the body was like, what? So sometimes it's like that. So this is called a combination clearing. So we're clearing for COVID-19 virus, oxides, and synovial fluid in combination, right? Tell the body to come into right relationship with that. COVID-19, oxides, and synovial fluid. Great. Good. Okay, the next one is synovial, is COVID-19, oxides, and connective tissue. Okay, great. And the next one is COVID-19, oxides, and collagen. You can get reactive to your own collagen. Right. So we're just making sure the body knows where to put that oxygen molecule, and it's not getting crazy and oxidizing your own connective tissue, synovial fluid, or collagen, right? Making sure it goes, the oxygen always goes on the COVID-19, right? Okay, and lastly for this section, we want to make sure you're in right relationship with your own steroids. So steroids help you to heal the sore areas. So make sure you're in right relationship with your own steroids so that you can heal those up. Good. Okay, big breath in and release. Awesome. Okay, all right. Let's focus on the stomach, small intestines, and colon. So for me, the colon was the first place it got hit. And then when my immune system chased it out of there, then I had issues with the small intestines. And then when it chased it out of there, then I had issues with the stomach. So it's interesting that it went that way. But I do find that in the early stages, it seems like the virus likes the colon and the lungs best. And if your immune system kicks it out of there, then it goes to other areas. So I didn't actually have like diarrhea types and symptoms until it made it to the small intestines. And I didn't actually get sick to my stomach until I'd had it for quite a while, and I chased it out of all other areas and it went back to the stomach. But for some people, I think if you notice it, like when you first touch your eye or whatever, and it starts to dive down, try to go to the lungs, you may feel a little bit of not feeling so good in the stomach at the beginning. People talk about losing your sense of smell and your taste being off. Things don't taste quite right. And that may be that stage when it's trying to make it through the stomach to the intestines and the colon. So just pay attention, right? So right now let's just focus on all those areas. And we're telling the body to release any deception fields in the area of the stomach, small intestines, and the colon. And we're telling the body to come into right relationship with virus and all that comes with it in those areas. So viral spores, active virus, viral toxins, viral die-off bodies, all of those. Okay, coming into right relationship with those. And with the viral toxins, we're wanting to come into right relationship, especially with some of the neurotoxins they release, which can literally paralyze your digestive action and your peristaltic action in the intestines, and make your whole system kind of slow down. So a lot of people don't realize that virus, it's not just COVID that can do that. Lots of viruses can do that. So coming into right relationship with viral toxins, especially neurotoxins, and virus in all its different forms. Okay, coming into right relationship with COVID-19 and other viruses that you may have in the body, and any RNA and DNA changes that they've made. And some of these you may have inherited from other people, even from family members. So, but with energy work, you literally can ask the body to check the DNA and try to fix a DNA error that's being made. So that's what this is for. COVID-19 virus, other viruses, and RNA and DNA changes. Okay, there you go. All right. And now let's look at heavy metal barriers that can be created around the virus. So we want to take a look at that. Ask the body to notice if there's any heavy metal areas in the body, because likely there's a pathogen hiding behind that. So asking the body to come in right relationship with heavy metals and these heavy metal barriers and start breaking them down and getting rid of them so that you can get at the virus. And as the body does this, and as we go through this, you might take a moment to ask your body, what do you need from me in order to do that, right? And you might get an answer like more water, or we need lots of greens. There's certain things that help chelate heavy metals like cilantro, and it will chelate it, and then chlorella or spirulina will bind to it and remove it. If you want to know more about that, you can go to a document that I have that's about coronavirus fighting foods that I'll talk a little bit about that. So just know that you are, if you're asking your body to clear heavy metals, that's one thing, that's alerting your body to the problem, but then it may need some tools from you to actually sweep those out, right? So be aware that it's a conversation you're having, right? I want you to do this. And then the body's going to say, great, I'd love to. If you want me to do this, I need you to eat this. So there you go. Okay. All right, let's focus on bacteria in the stomach, small intestine, and colon. So when COVID gets in there, it starts messing with things, and then other pathogenic bacteria or funguses can then decide, it's time for them to make their move because the virus has made the intestines a great place for it to be. So that's the case with bacteria. I'm finding, especially one called C. difficile, which seems to just overgrow like crazy under the conditions that this particular virus, COVID-19, creates. So tell your body to come into right relationship with bacteria, and like we did before, if you want to have one hand on the guts, one hand on the heart, or both hand on the guts, since that's guts and stomach, since that's where we're talking, you can do that as well. And just say, hey body, you need to come into right relationship with bacteria, all forms of bacteria, good and bad, knowing which ones are good and which ones are bad. And especially I want you to notice C. difficile, which is bad, and get that one out of here, right? Coming into right relationship with bacteria, bacterial toxins, bacterial die-off, and bacterial biofilm, right? Clearing, resetting, releasing, healing your relationship towards those, especially in the stomach, intestines, and colon. There you go. Okay. And then also checking on a twisted perception as to what is helpful bacteria and what's pathogenic bacteria in these areas, so that your body is encouraging the good bacteria and discouraging the bad bacteria. And as we work with this, let's be really clear with the body that while these bacteria, these are important for the body to work on, enemy number one is COVID-19. So yes, keep track of the other pathogens in the body like bacteria and candida, but send the majority of the troops and the resources you have to fighting COVID-19 first, right? We have to, keep track of everything, but COVID-19 is enemy number one. Okay. All right, so let's move on to your ability to do a variety of things. So we want to tell the body to clear for its ability and willingness to make and use the enzymes that you need to digest and metabolize beans, especially, and the viral fighters in beans, like cinnamic acid, genistein, resveratrol, and lysine. So clearing, resetting, releasing, healing your body's ability and willingness to make and use the enzymes needed to digest the viral fighters that it needs. Okay, good. All right. And then clearing for your ability to make and use acetol. clearing for your relationship towards a settle, which my understanding of that is it's a set of, it's a, what would I say, chemicals or, I'm losing the word here. I can't think of the word, but it's something that attaches to other things in the body, and it's like a go light that it makes things happen. So you need to be in right relationship with the settle. All right. And the next is your ability to make and use steroids. Coming into right relationship with your ability to make and use steroids. Great. Molecules, that's the word I wanted. All right. Coming into right relationship with your ability to make and use the amino acid serine. Coming into right relationship with serine. If you feel intense cravings for chicken, you may need there's serine in chicken as well as lysine. So you should really honor that. Okay. All right. Looking at your ability to balance the pH in your intestines and your stomach. And what that looks like is you need to be in right relationship with having an alkaline mucosal lining that protects you from the acidic stomach acids and chyme. So ultimately your stomach, what's in your stomach is acidic, but what the lining is alkaline, and the same with the intestines. And that's very important to the whole function of your intestines. So tell yourself to come into right relationship with your alkaline mucosal lining, and also with acids in the stomach, and your ability to balance the pH of all of that. Okay? All right. And tell yourself to come into right relationship with viral fighting substances, especially lysine, inositol, phenols like resveratrol and quercetin and rutin, coming into right relationship with all phenols, cinnamic acid, bioflavonoids, isoflavones like genistein and diadzine, casein and lactoferrin and pepsin in milk. It's very protective. So if you're somebody that can eat milk, have some milk. If you're somebody that's allergic to milk, work at reclaiming that. I used to be highly allergic to milk, and especially casein, and now it's a food that I can eat all the time, and I've been drinking a lot of milk. My body's been asking for it to fight the coronavirus. So coming into right relationship with casein, lactoferrin, and pepsin in milk. Okay. Coming into right relationship with pyruvate and benzene. Pyruvate and benzene. Okay. Big breath in. And release. Oh, that's a lot of things, right? Okay. Next section is on metabolism pathways. So pathogens can mess up your ability to metabolize things, meaning to, your body breaks it down and then puts it together in different forms, and it has this long chemical chain that gets it from one place to another. And if anything happens along the way to stop that chain, then you can't get the nourishment that you needed. And so it's smart for a pathogen to block that. So let's look at your metabolism pathways. So telling yourself to come into right relationship with your arginine metabolism, important amino acid for healing, arginine. Okay, tell yourself to come into right relationship with your histidine metabolism. This has to do with that histamine response that makes you want to claw your eyes out. If you're having trouble with histamine, you're having trouble with your histidine metabolism. Right? And a particular amino acid that's on the histidine metabolism pathway is ergothioneine. Important one for healing. Okay. Tell yourself to come into right relationship with your ethylbenzene degradation pathway. And with benzene, we were working with that a little earlier. Okay. Tell yourself to come into right relationship with lysine biosynthesis. Lysine, very important amino acid that helps block viral replication. Coming into right relationship with lysine. Tell yourself to come into right relationship with methionine metabolism. Methionine. And with nitrogen metabolism. Fixing your nitrogen, and very important. And with vitamin B6 metabolism. And on that pathway, that includes niacin, vitamin B3. So if you've been having kind of niacin flushes where your face gets flushed or red, that could be because your vitamin B6 metabolism is off and the niacin's being diverted from where it needs to go. Okay, coming into right relationship with your carbon fixation metabolism. Okay, great. Okay. And then lastly, coming into right relationship with, it's a combination response, virus and your nausea response. This virus creates a wicked nausea response at the point that it's kind of freaked out. It doesn't seem to happen immediately, but once it's being chased out of other areas and it's trying to reestablish itself, it can be a wicked one. It hit me like, I was like, somebody like punched me in the stomach, and I was like, I knew what it was because I'd seen it on other clients, but up until that point, I'd had the virus for a month before I got the nausea response, and it had hunkered down, and then it came out and tried to attack me, full force. And man, that nausea response was awful. And I managed to, by telling my body, hey, this is virus trying to create this nausea response. You don't need this nausea response. You need to keep down these wonderful supplements and foods that I just fed you to kill the virus, right? By doing that, I was able to keep my food down and use it to fight. So tell your body, hey, no nausea response. Just use the foods, kick the virus out, right? Good. All right. All right, so now we're moving into more established symptoms that we've heard about, like working in the lungs. And so we're going to focus on the lungs as we work this. And again, you can place your hands towards the lungs. Often it's lower down. It's not, especially when it first comes in, I find that COVID is in the lower parts of the lungs, and it's hiding behind a heavy metal fort of some kind that it's built, and there's a deception field around it. And so that's why it doesn't help to ask, do I have COVID in the lungs? Because you'll get, no, you're fine, right? And then if you say, is there a heavy metal barrier there? It's like, oh yeah, there is. The body goes, oh, what's that doing there? What's behind that? Is there COVID? Oh, right, there. Like, it's like, it's really crazy. So look for the metal barrier. Look for the things that the pathogen has changed on its way to getting to the lungs, like, your relation towards resveratrol and lysine. That's a pretty sure one. And then you'll know it's probably there, right? So anyway, so let's focus on the lungs right now, and we'll try to clear deception fields as best we can. So telling yourself to come into right relationship with deception fields in the lungs, meaning that you recognize that they're there, clearing them, so you can see what's there. Okay. Working with deception fields is a little like, it's like you're looking at one of those pictures where there's two faces looking at each other, and it can look like a vase or the two faces, and your eyes go back and forth between the two. And so deception fields are a little like that. At first you're looking at the faces and like, oh, there's not a vase here. And then you go, oh, wait, there's a vase here. Oh, wait, there's COVID here. It's like that. So you have to kind of look right at it sometimes to see it. So knowing the energetic signature can be really helpful in that regard. So you're clearing deception fields in the lungs, helping your body to see what's there, to see the vase, right? And then telling your body to come into right relationship with COVID-19 in the lungs, meaning it's enemy number one. Go after that. Kill that thing. Coming into right relationship with COVID as a spore, as an active virus, as a toxin, as a die-off body of COVID, in all its different forms, coming into right relationship, especially with the viral toxins, the neurotoxins, which can paralyze the cells in the lungs, right? Making sure the body knows how to work with those and remove them, asking those cells to wake up, to spit out that neurotoxin and wake up. So coming into right relationship with the neurotoxins means the body goes, I know what to do with that, and it gets rid of it, right? Taking a moment to ask the body what it needs from you to clear these toxins out of the body. Right? Okay, focusing on I'm working with my friends and you at the same time, so I'm getting these different messages, and it's just like sarsaparilla. You need sarsaparilla. Sarsaparilla is a great viral detoxifier. So are blueberries. So sarsaparilla you'll need to get as a tea or a supplement because there's really not enough in root beer to really to be helpful. Unless maybe you made your home root beer, but blueberries, that's a pretty easy, accessible one. So okay. So we're focusing on heavy metal barriers around the virus. Again, calling your body's attention if there's any heavy metal barriers protecting the virus in your lungs, and saying, "Hey, body, get on that. You need to remove those. You need to remove those metals. Those heavy metals. Get rid of them, and help me to do that too. Help me to help you do that by giving me cravings for the things that would help you to cleanse those." All right. Here's a big one for the lungs is O2, right? So it's a particular type of oxygen that I'm finding a lot of people get reacted to. And when people are really, really sick in the hospital, they're testing very weak for O2. They just can't handle it at all. And so they're even on oxygen, but it's not staying in their bodies, and they have really low oxygen in their blood, and they're reactive to O2. So tell yourself to come into right relationship with O2, right? Okay. All right. And I should have said this earlier, but if you want to send healing to somebody else, somebody that's in the hospital, you have to get their permission first, unless they're like so out of it that you can't talk to them. Then you can ask on the spiritual plane if you know how to do that. But if you traditionally, you need to talk to them first and ask their permission to send healing so that they know what works. If you just send healing, they get better and they don't know what works, like that can really mess up their spiritual path. They need to know what's working, and they need to give permission. So if you get their permission, then you can simply in your mind make like an energetic bridge to them. And if you know how to do Reiki, there's a way of doing that with Reiki in the willow meadow that we've been working on. You can just almost like see a pathway in the woods between you and that person, and see them as a tree in another meadow. And you just as you do healing on yourself, you can also send healing to them, right? So like I'm sending my hands out this way, you could do that too. So if you have permission to help somebody that is really struggling to breathe right now, you can do that. You can tell yourself to heal for O2, and at the same time send a hand out and invite their bodies to heal for O2, right? Make sure you've got permission though, right? Because it won't go through if you don't have permission, or it won't be in their best and highest good or yours to push that, right? You can witness that they need it. That's another way. It's almost like to take a snapshot and go, God, I want them to have this healing. I literally make like a little snow globe and put that snapshot up in the Akashic records. I just place it there, or what you would call the collective unconscious, where the great mind, where I get my information from, right? So if you want to do that right now, just say, oh my gosh, my friend needs this information. So just think about, handing that information off. You need to be in right relationship with O2, right? And invite them to accept that healing, right? And then as soon as you can ask for permission to send, right? And then when they're clear and you're clear, you should move forward or muscle test strong towards it, that you and they are in right relationship with O2, right? And you can go through this whole healing and do that for a friend as well. So let's go on to the lungs and viral fighting substances, especially inside the heavy metal barriers. So inside the heavy metal barriers in the lungs, I'm finding is where the blocks are to lysine, resveratrol. So we're going to tell ourselves to come into right relationship with all of these viral fighting substances inside the heavy metal barriers, reminding the cells inside those barriers and the cells that have been embedded with the heavy metals, like, hey, you're still part of me, you're mine. I do not give you over to virus to make its home there. You are mine. I want you to wake up, come into a right relationship with lysine, resveratrol, pyruvate, benzene, quercetin, cinnamic acid, ferulic acid, all of these things, and use those to kill those guys, get rid of them, stop them replicating. Okay. And again, we need to talk to the lungs about the steroid issue. So your ability to make and use steroids, especially inside the heavy metal barrier. So this is what makes the cells mushy there, because the body isn't able to use steroids. And this, not able to use steroids it contributes a lot to people who have asthma, right, and pneumonia. So telling yourself to be able to make and use steroids, especially inside the heavy metal barriers where the viruses are hiding. Okay. Correcting your ability to make and use acetyl, especially inside the heavy metal barrier, coming into right relationship with acetyl in the lungs. Okay, great. All right. Almost done with the lungs. Working on your ability to balance your pH, especially inside the heavy metal barriers, coming into right relationship with acid. This virus likes to block your relationship towards acid and make it so that it burns you and messes with you and your pH is off. Right. So coming into right relationship with acid and your ability to balance the pH in your lungs, especially that behind the heavy metal barriers. And lastly, looking at metabolism pathways, telling your body to make sure that the metabolism pathways in the lungs are working well, specifically arginine metabolism, histidine metabolism, ergothioneine is in the histidine metabolism, so being in right relationship with that, making sure it's not being diverted. Nitrogen metabolism, vitamin B6 metabolism, and niacin, making sure that that's not being diverted. And then your ability to do carbon fixation metabolism in the lungs. Okay, big breath. And release. Good. Okay. All right. So we are looking at the entire body now. So I'll just say this is, if you are blocked to the things on the entire body list, you are not feeling good. So this is where I was at when I got reattacked, and it was so intense. So let's clear for deception fields in the entire body. Okay, clearing, resetting, releasing, healing for deception fields over the entire body. Coming into right relationship with good bacteria, right? So sometimes your body starts attacking the good bacteria, right? And that's part of that cytokine storm when it's attacking everything it shouldn't, and the whole body goes under. So make sure you know who your friends are, the good bacteria. Coming to the right relationship for your entire body for acids, right? Coming into right relationship with O2 in the entire body, making sure that you have good oxygen levels in your blood. And you're able to use O2 to make and use O2 to create the double oxygen molecule. Okay. Coming into right relationship with enzymes in the whole body. Coming into right relationship with hormones in the whole body. specifically testosterone, insulin-like factor 3, beta-sitosterol, and adrenocorticopic hormone. Getting very specific here, coming into right relationship with hormones throughout your body, specifically testosterone, insulin-like factor 3, beta-sitosterol, and adrenocorticopic hormone. That feels so good when you do that. I was really sick until I figured those ones out. Okay. So clearing for your ability to do citrullination and your relationship towards nitric oxide. Coming into right relationship with your ability to do citrullination and nitric oxide. Your ability to balance your salt levels in the whole body and your relationship towards salt. Okay. Your ability to balance your pH, your relationship towards acid, base, and acid and base in combination. Okay. Let's see. Now we're looking at nutrients and viral fighting substances throughout the whole body. So coming into right relationship with B vitamins, beta carotene. If you have a block towards beta carotene, you may get kind of orangey skin. And people will say, you look so tan, right? And it's really that your beta carotene is not going where it needs to go and it's going out to the skin. So that's a weird one. So coming into right relationship with B vitamins, beta carotene, chlorophyll, right, which is something that can help you remove heavy metals, iodine, which helps the immune system and the thyroid, lysine, viral replication blocker, and then the phenols, quercetin and resveratrol, also important for fighting viruses. And something called venom peptides, coming into right relationship with all these things. Okay, and then looking at the metabolism pathways for the whole body, the urea cycle, your relationship with urea and citrulline, histidine metabolism, and your relationship towards histamine. There you go. Okay, whew, all right. So we're almost through the intense symptom place. We need to look at the immune system and that cytokine storm. So when I went down the second time, like I said, the sneak attack coming back around, I found that my cytokines were off, and that scared the bejesus out of me because the cytokine storm is the killer, right? So, so tell yourself, you're focusing on the immune system in general and the immune cells, and telling yourself to come into right relationship with your own cytokines. Make sure they're not proliferating like crazy and attacking everything. Okay, and we're going to be very specific here and say come into right relationship with cytokines, the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, and the adrenal glands, which are known as the HPA axis. So all of these guys can be miscommunicating, and we want to make sure they're all in right relationship with each other. Cytokines and the HPA axis, okay? And if you have a friend that's really, really ill and scary ill, like, do this first. Do the cytokines, go after that, and then go back to the whole body things, right? And the O2. Okay, and then focusing on your the immune system's relationship to the spleen and COVID. So you might want to keep one hand on the heart, take one hand to the left side of your torso where the spleen is, and you're just talking to the spleen. So this guy has a lot to do with, deciding who's an enemy and who's not. So you want to say, hey, spleen, COVID-19 is a virus. Do not let it hang out in the body. It is not a friendly microbe. And in fact, it is enemy number one. We're still remembering the other pathogens in the body. We're not letting them get off easy either. But any extra energy, any extra immune cells you've got, send it after COVID-19. That is the main one to kill. All right. So making sure the spleen knows the difference between COVID-19, the virus, and the COVID-19 die-off bodies, what it's made out of, right? Make sure that spleen knows the difference between the virus and your own cells, because the virus gets inside your cells and then you start attacking yourself, right? So making sure the spleen is very clear on who the virus is and who to attack, right? It's like telling a police officer, one of those games where the police officer has to decide, these, people come up like, an old lady with a cart and, and then a bad guy with a gun, and he's got to decide who to shoot, right? And so we're basically saying, check that spleen, make sure that you're shooting the right people and not attacking me, right? Okay, and then we're talking to the immune system about, one of the processes of that, your ability to do phagocytosis. So that's your gun pulling out the highly reactive oxygen molecule and oxidizing the pathogen, making sure your body's able to do that and is oxidizing the right things. So coming into right relationship with your ability to do phagocytosis to COVID-19. Okay. Coming into right relationship with your IG response, your immunoglobulin response, making sure you're not having an IG response to genistin, which is a viral killer, especially in the virus-controlled areas of the body, like the colon, the lungs, the throat, right? So making sure that you have a proper IG response to the virus and not to the viral fighters like genistin, okay? And then the next one is a contraction response, making sure you're not having a contraction response to genistin, especially in the viral controlled areas of the body, like behind the barriers, right? Genistin is our friend. Genistin is always our friend. We love genistin. No IG response, no contraction response to genistin. And then lastly, looking at exercise triggering viral response as the virus takes advantage of low immune and digestive activity. So seeing if you can make the body aware that that's happening and to stay on alert, right, even when exercising, and to give you clues as to when to exercise and when not to exercise. Sometimes when we're feeling poorly, we think, oh, I just need to exercise. And with this virus, you really need to take a break. You really need to rest. It's like, you just need to give your body every bit of energy that you can. And then when you're feeling better, you can do like kind of low grade things like, a walk or something like that. But I got into trouble when I was feeling great. I thought I kicked it out of my body. I went on a really strenuous hike. And by the time I got home, I was like, I was down, man, and really being attacked. So be aware if you feel tired, rest. Okay. So the next one is the heart. So this is a pretty serious one too. I believe it's the viral toxins, the neurotoxins that are being released in the blood that are causing the heart to stop. So focus on the heart now. Put your hands to the heart and tell your heart to come into right relationship with COVID-19 viral toxins, making sure that it doesn't allow them to stay, that it kicks them out immediately, that the cells in the heart, do not tolerate any viral toxins and, are not allowing the heart to go numb, basically. And again, inviting your body to tell you what you need to eat, like sarsaparilla and blueberries, to help it get rid of those neurotoxins, right? Okay. And then we're going to be looking at the adrenal glands. So a lot of people are having a hard time sleeping and a hard time relaxing. There's a lot of emotional response and emotional triggering that this virus does to get you kind of wired. And the reason for that is that when you're in flight or fight, when you're in the sympathetic nervous system, your immune system and your digestive system are dampened because the body's, set to deal with outside invaders like a tiger, right? And it's so it's not a good place to be stressed out when you're fighting a virus because you're you just can't do it. The immune system will back off, and that's similar for exercise. When you exercise, your heart rate goes up, you go into this stress response, right? And the immune system dampens. So so let's look at how the virus is doing that to a degree. It's working on the adrenal glands, which are on top of the kidneys in your back on either side. So you can put your hands there, or you can just work through the heart and the heart chakra and focus your attention there. And we're just telling your body to come into a right relationship with your adrenal glands. Make sure that you're in control of your adrenal glands and not the pathogen, right? Coming into right relationship with your adrenal glands and with adrenaline. Coming into right relationship with sleep, noticing how sleep or rest can trigger a release of adrenaline, causing wakefulness and anxiety. That's what the virus is doing. So it's a trigger response when you go into sleep or rest, that somehow the virus then, it does an automatic release of adrenaline. And so telling your body to be aware of that and to look at what the adrenal glands are listening to, right? Who they're taking orders from, right? Noting that during sleep or rest, there should be no adrenaline being released at all, right? And so then let's do a complex combination one, clearing for all the players in this, the hypothalamus, the pituitary, and the adrenal. So there's that HPA axis again. That in combination with pathogens, neurotransmitters. I'm told that pathogens can create false neurotransmitters to tell the brain to do things that it shouldn't be doing, things that favor the pathogens. So that we've got the HPA axis, pathogens, neurotransmitters, quinones, which is I believe it's a phytochemical that pathogens seem to be able to use against you to make you hyper. It generally calms you down, but when it's flipped this way, it does the opposite. So HPA axis, neurotransmitters, quinones, this virus in particular, adrenaline, and adrenocorticopic hormones. Adrenocorticopic hormones. So I'll say that again, coming into right relationship with all the players that are messing with your adrenaline release, keeping you anxious, causing emotional upset, like tears or anger. It can do that. Anytime hormones are messed with, it can do that. So clearing for the HPA axis, pathogens, neurotransmitters, quinones, virus, adrenaline, and adrenocorticopic hormones. Okay, big breath. And release. And tell yourself to be calm. Tell yourself calm is the new normal. Calm is better than stressed, right? Calm is our friend. And try to be there. Do whatever it takes as far as visualizations to be there. So I'm really aware that this is a very long video and there's a bunch of other things that we could work on, but all of those are kind of secondary symptoms like, the bladder or the breasts or the skin. And so I think I'm going to save those for another. No, I don't think I should save it. You can just stop here if you feel like you're done. How about that? But if you feel like you've been having bladder symptoms, then you probably want to keep going, or pain in the breasts, or what else is coming up? Stuff around the appendix area in the skin. So those 4 areas. So we'll just keep pushing through. Okay. But if you're feeling better, you may be done. If you're able to muscle test, you can ask, do I need to continue? Yes would be forward and no would be backwards. Or with muscle testing, you could say, do I still have some issues that I need to clear coming up? Yes. I'm testing for my friends right now. Like, yes, they do. And that makes sense to me because part of the reason I put some of these things in because I knew that they were having trouble with that. So we're going to go into the bladder. So this virus seems to like run away from the immune system, go into different places. And as it messes with the body's ability to take care of itself in those areas, then other pathogens jump on the bandwagon. And suddenly you've got not only a viral bladder infection, but you've got a bacterial bladder infection happening as well. So if you want to place your hands over the bladder area, or you can have one hand on your heart, one hand over the bladder. And we're just going to talk to the body about focusing on the bladder. Again, clearing for deception fields, always clearing for deception fields. Telling the body to come into right relationship with COVID-19 in the bladder and with COVID-19 toxins, right? Asking the body the spleen and COVID-19 virus die-off to come into right relationship with the bladder. Okay. Coming into right relationship with urea, which is very protective in the bladder. It keeps the walls kind of slickery so that pathogens can't grab a hold of the cells that line the walls of the bladder. So you want to be in right relationship with urea. And coming into right relationship with bacteria in all different forms. So bacteria, bacterial toxins, bacterial die-off, bacterial biofilm. Good and bad bacteria, knowing which is the difference. Coming into right relationship with bacteria in the bladder. And checking to make sure that the body knows the difference between what's a helpful bacteria and what's a pathogenic bacteria in the bladder. So clearing for a twisted perception of what's a helpful microbe in the bladder. Okay. And just a little word about twisted perceptions, that if you're having trouble with that, you may also be having trouble with knowing who's a good and bad person in your life. So oftentimes pathogens are just reflecting back like what we're manifesting in our lives. And so if you have a trouble telling the difference between who's good, who's bad, who's a friend, who's not, you may see that reflected in your immune system making a mistake about that. So if that one keeps coming back, then it's important for you to look at that in your life as well and get honest about that. And then your body will follow suit often. So next, let's look at the chest, the breast, chest, and armpits. I was really surprised. I shouldn't have been, but when COVID dove down into like the mammary glands in my, for me, it's always the left breast that pathogens. And I've had other women say that, but and I don't know if there's a personal reason for that. Left side is your feminine, intuitive self. So I don't know, but pathogens run away and they will hide in, little cul-de-sac spaces where they can, fend off the immune system. And so it's really common for me to find with people that they've got an infestation of, it can be candida, bacteria, or virus in the lymph, up in the armpits, and then down into the mammary glands and in the breast. And, in my opinion, that's like the precursor to, to eventually going to breast cancer. Because if those pathogens are allowed to camp out down there, they have the potential to change the DNA, right? And then the cells start replicating weird. And so I think it's definitely a contributing factor to that. So for that reason, I'm going to say something kind of odd, but, especially women, but men too, right? You've got nipples too and breast tissue too. Do self breast massages. Just do it. Like it's, really work in that and make sure that that the fluid is moving. Doing a lymph flush. Some people do dry brushing, or just using a strong washcloth in the shower to make sure that everything's moving well in the armpits and in the breast area. And then noticing if there's any soreness in there, you can muscle test, and ask, is there a virus? Is there, bacteria? Is there fungus down in there? And then tell your immune system to get on it, right? So let's do that right now. So you're going to kind of focus towards the breasts, and tell your body to pay attention, right? And notice if there's any soreness up in your breast tissue. Look for, we're clearing for deception fields. And then we're clearing for COVID-19. It's spores, die-off, and toxins in those areas, right? So making sure you're in right relationship with all those things. And then getting rid of any heavy metal, barriers that might be created up in the breast to protect it from the immune system getting at it, right? And then do, like I said, help your body to clear it by doing good lymph health by, like I said, scrubbing, massaging, doing hot showers and then cooling off and then hot again, doing saunas. All those are great things to clear the lymph in the breast area. Okay. All right, so now we're moving on to the cecum, which is it's where the small intestine and the large intestine connect. It's technically part of the large intestine, and it's where the appendix goes off. And the appendix, I read a study now. People think it does actually have a use, and it's actually supposed to hold good bacteria, and it's supposed to be like a little purse to where if if either the colon or the small intestine needs more good bacteria, it can kind of dispense either way. And so when you have appendicitis, what's happened is that the bad bacteria has taken over. The body may have gotten confused about what's good bacteria, what's bad bacteria in that area. So I had a bunch of pain in that area with COVID, and I was shocked. I was just like, wow, it's going to go after my appendix. This is a smart little virus here, right? And so because good bacteria can be protective to the intestines. And so if you want to do a hostile takeover, knocking out your good bacteria is a smart move. So anyway, so let's focus on, so this is going to be the lower right side of the, below the navel, well, about at the level of the navel. And I think maybe it's below. Yeah, below. And we're talking to the body about good and bad bacteria, making sure the body's in right relationship with good bacteria and bad bacteria, and that it knows the difference, that it doesn't have a twisted perception around who's a friend and who's an enemy, right? Okay. All right, and making sure the body recognizes the COVID-19 in that area and is kicking that out. It's enemy number one, not allowed anywhere near that appendix or cecum. So coming into right relationship with COVID spores, COVID die-off, COVID toxins in that area. Okay. Coming into right relationship with your own immune cells in the cecum and the appendix. Make sure that you're not blocking your own immune cells or attacking your own immune cells. Okay. And making sure that you're in right relationship with the heavy metals that the virus would use to protect itself, and you're moving those little barriers. And especially that you're in right relationship with your alkaline mucosal lining in those areas. Right? Okay, we're almost done here. Woo-woo! So we're focusing on the skin now. So this isn't very well known, but when pathogens run away, they'll do this smart thing where if you have rosacea, that's pathogens hiding in those little capillaries, and they'll make a little eruption and cause you to itch. Right, you scratch it, and then maybe later you rub your eye, and you just distribute the pathogen here. So let's say the pathogen was running away from the immune system somewhere. It gets here, you've just given it free rein right down through the esophagus, through the air passage, just into the body again. And anyway, it's a really smart move. So be aware of that if you're having some skin stuff that likely you've got COVID trying to come back around. So you want to make sure that your body is on it. So focus on the face specifically, but you might notice it other skin areas too, other eruptions. And you're telling your clearing for deception fields. Okay. Telling your skin to come into right relationship with viral spores, viral toxins. And then with a couple of protective substances that are in the skin that I found that COVID could block, which was ferulic acid and benzene in the skin. Okay. All right. Good. And then something that's really protective in this regard is to use something called sovereign silver, which is a type of colloidal silver with really fine nanoparticles. And you can use it as eye drops, you can use it as ear drops, you can spray into your mouth, you can do a nose spray, right? And it's very protective. It kills viruses and funguses and bacteria, and so spraying it on your face, you're protecting the skin. But then also if you've done the eye drops and you forgot and rubbed your eye, like you've got the heavy metal in there. That's not heavy metal, the silver. Sorry, not heavy metal. actually, I think silver might qualify as a heavy metal, but there's good heavy metals and there's bad. And generally when we're saying heavy metals, we're talking about, the bad ones. Silver is fine, and very protective. So, and pathogens do not like it. So there's a way to block access, I guess, for the pathogen coming around. So when I'm sick with something, I use that quite a bit to make sure that I'm blocking this entrance route to my body. So let's see here. The next thing on the list has to do with contributing issues, and these are things I think. Well, I'll just help you clear for them, but this is a longer discussion if you're new to my work about looking at, something like I call an inherited family thought field pattern, or a reversal. And so I'll have to write my book and do some more videos to explain that. But for right now, let's just clear them if you're still with me on this long video. So we're going to look at clearing any inherited family thought field patterns of denying illness. There's a lot of denial around COVID. I'm just shocked at how people who even know me and trust me, and I'll tell them they have COVID, they'll have done the video and they feel better. And they still then the next day they wake up feeling better and they say, oh, I can go to the store, or maybe I didn't really have it at all. They go out in the world, spread it around. I'm just like, what did you do? There's this just denial about the COVID that's astonishing. And it makes me think that, there's really something going on with how this virus seems to addle our brains. So anyway, let's clear for any inherited family thought field pattern you may have around denying illness, denying that you have it, right? Because it is really important that you accept that you have it. If this video makes you feel better and you've got all these symptoms that I'm talking about, you've got the virus. Just accept that, right? And you quarantine yourself. Don't go out. Do not go out. And certainly don't go out without gloves and a mask on. Do not do it. Because I can tell you, I was feeling well. I thought it was done. Like I said, I exercised, and then suddenly, as I was coming into the sympathetic nervous system after, this being in the, I was in the sympathetic in the exercise, and then as I came into the parasympathetic in the calming system, I suddenly realized I had, my allergy response back. I was having issues with pollens. And I was standing at an overlook where there was this railing, and I had about 1 second notice before I had an explosive sneeze, and I sneezed on the railing, and I went, "Oh my God, do I have COVID?" And it was back. It was in my sinuses, and it had, attacked me while I was exercising, it had gotten around my systems, and then I just explosively sneezed on a handrail. Right. And luckily it was a very hot day and it was a black handrail. And so I just kind of stood there for a while, making sure that nobody came anywhere near it until I was sure that it was dead. And, there was no way I was passing this on to anybody. Right. But I had 1 second notice, and I thought to myself, damn, I should have been wearing that mask. If I'd thought that I still had it, I would have been wearing that mask, and it wouldn't have gone so far. Right. So anyway, just be aware of the denial that can come around and how well you can feel while still carrying it. So, and still being contagious. Anyway, so we're clearing for any patterns of denying illness. Some families have really big, stuff around, push through, don't be a wuss, work till you drop, that kind of thing. And that can really make it hard for you to admit that you're sick. Okay. So clearing for inherited family thought field pattern of denying illness. Okay. Right. Clearing for kidneys and fear. That can be a block that comes up. Your kidneys start to shut down out of fear, as you're trying to not feel afraid, and the kidneys are very much connected to fear, and you need those kidneys to handle the toxins, right? Clearing for a reversal of, I don't want to believe that I'm ill. Let me show you how to clear a reversal. Place one hand over the other in the center of your chest, and you're going to say, even though I don't want to believe that I'm ill, I fully love and accept myself, right? So repeat that after me. Even though I don't want to believe that I'm ill, I fully love and accept myself. Okay, then switch which hand is on top over the heart chakra. This is important because it has to do with engaging the brain in a different way. We're getting the right and the left halves to talk to each other. So then we say it again. Even though I don't want to believe that I'm ill, so say that out loud, I fully love and accept myself. Great. Switch which hand is on top. Let's do it one more time. Even though I don't want to believe that I'm ill, I fully love and accept myself. Good. And then you may feel the sigh as you do the shift. Okay, good. So that's how to clear a reversal. So let's clear any confusion about who's a friend and who's a foe. So if that's an issue for you, if you really resonated with that, take a moment to tell yourself, I want to see who's a friend and who's a foe. I want to look honestly at the people in my life, right, and at myself, make sure that I have no confusion around that, so that my body will have no confusion about that. Big breath. Okay. Taking on other people's issues, karma, and illness is big with this. So if you're empathic in any way, you may be carrying somebody else's issues. So that's a big issue for me. I'll be doing all my healing work and it's not working. Then finally I go, wait a minute, is this even mine? And then I'll shift it off and I'll feel fine. And I'll be like, oh, that wasn't even mine. I was all ill, because I was carrying somebody else's stuff. So make sure you let it go, right? You can't heal them by carrying it for them, right? So right now, let go of other people's issues, their karma, their illness. Okay? Clearing, resetting, releasing, healing other people's issues, karma, and illness. Great. And you may have to, if this is a habit with you, like it has been for me, you may have to dig deeper and do some more healing around, why do I do that? Why do I always have this codependent relationship with my mother or my boyfriend or whatever? And then as you do that healing work, you'll be better able to stop, unconsciously taking on people's issues. Okay, and lastly, in this section on contributing issues is seeing the world as a competition and engaging in patterns of dominance and victimization, right? So we're releasing that. That's what we're evolving to. So on the higher planes, when we're looking at the spiritual aspect of COVID, it's because the world needs to change, that we're going to blow ourselves up if we continue with these patterns of competition, right? And trying who's going to make a buck as opposed to tending to the planet and its needs. And so, we're going to just burn away if we don't pay attention. And so that has to go. And we have co-created this reality, this pandemic, because there needs to be a clearing of the boards and we need to come face to face with what we're doing as humans. And so we're getting to slow down. We've all been sent to our rooms to think about ourselves. And so if you have any engagement with competition or engaging in patterns of dominance and victimization, then it's time to let it go. That's what we're evolving away from, right? So clear, set, and release any issues around seeing the world as a competition or engaging in patterns of dominance or victimization. Feels so nice to let go of that one. Let it go. And in its place, add in a win-win that you're going to create in your life, a win-win scenario where we all do better when we all do better. And when I shine for you, for your benefit. So you don't need to smack me down to make yourself feel better. You can say, go, shine, thank you. Because when we shine, actually, we're contributing to this collective unconscious that Jung talks about. And the reason I'm able to do my work is because all the amazing scientists that went before that came up with terminology like formaldehyde and dioxin and explored that and, reported on it. And, I can tap into that with muscle testing, with intuition. And then I can Google it and, figure out even more about it and then explore that even further. And that's how I've done my work, is I've tapped into this collective knowledge that's there for all of us at any time. And so as we move into this new heaven and new earth, this your neighbor shining is something that you want to have happen. And you want to shine as strong as you can too and contribute to the whole. And there should be no needing to pull somebody else down to make yourself better in this new world, because the acknowledgement that we are all one. And if you do poorly, I do poorly. So I'm going to want to help you to do better, right? That's where we're going in this world. So let's all take this time to take a deep breath and say thank you. It's hard to do, but to say thank you to COVID-19 for reflecting back to ourselves who we are and what we need right now. And as you continue to work with this, because if you've got it, it's not likely that one time going through this video is going to clear it for you. I'm just telling you, it's a smart virus. It keeps coming back around. It hunkers down and then comes back out again. And viruses do that. Just think of herpes or Epstein-Barr. They do that. And COVID may be one of those that does that. So keep fighting the good fight. Keep doing these clearings. I'll continue to do new videos and put new information out there. This is a long video to make it easier for yourself to where you can do it quickly. I recommend you work on learning how to do either the sway test or muscle testing, or pendulum dowsing is great, and to use the energetic signature list that I've posted on my blog site, Woo Corner. And it's also in the resources page on my website, amyallisontaylor.com, right? And I'll keep updating those with new information as it comes in. If you have that list and you print it out or have it on the screen, you can muscle test, show me my relationship towards this. And when you find the piece that's blocked, then you just clear for that. And so your clearing becomes something that you do a few times a day. And at the most, it should take you 10 minutes, right? Right now it's taking me just a few minutes because I've gotten most things under control. But I check it several times a day to make sure I'm on track and that I don't have the virus getting around my awareness and then attacking me again, because that was terrifying when it came out of it had been hunkering down, and its forces just, attacked me when I like I said, after I exercised and thought that I was doing well, and it came really hard. And that's what we're seeing with people that get released from the hospital. The doctors think they're done with it, and then we find them dead, a week or two later. And it's like, what happened? Well, that happened. The virus is smart. It hides, it comes back. So stay on it, and be aware and notice if you get weird symptoms, if you get weird pains in different parts of the body, that it may be moving around, and then focus your healing. If it's in the ear, I've been having earaches, right? And it's there, right? Or if it's the eye, right? So stay vigilant, stay empowered. I fully believe that we're going to get through this and be able to kick this guy out entirely. But it may be a while. I've been fighting it it's been at least, if I think back to the early symptoms, which I didn't think were COVID, it's probably been at least 5 weeks that I've been fighting this, and I'm good at this, right? So stay on it, stay vigilant, and learn your muscle testing so that you can know where it is and how to target it, and be empowered. I'm not scared. I'm aware, right? And so are my clients. We're not scared. We're aware. My clients are not going to die from COVID because they've got these good skills, right? and you're not either, because you're here watching this video and I'm giving you these skills, right? So you've got what it takes to fight this and to fight it well. So be empowered, but also have respect for this virus. It's smart. So you've got to use your big brain to outsmart it, right? Don't let this thing out evolve you. You can do this. We can do this together. So I'll keep making videos. You keep doing your work. I'll keep doing mine. And together we'll get through this. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. If you'd like me to do some energetic testing for you, I'm offering free testing as I'm able. The best way to contact me to ask for help for testing would be usually text is the best way to get hold of me, text or email. So namaste. Be well.